I've worked in CFT since 2001, and I must admit I'm very glad I came to work in Cornwall. It's I've always found it quite collegiate. It's a place where you tend to know everybody because it's small enough to know most of your colleagues and most of the management staff, and therefore you can talk to people, and that's very important to me. Um, it's a beautiful place to work, and obviously, from my perspective, it's a place where I've managed to combine a clinical career with a research career. And we built up a strong research team over the last couple of decades, uh, which is very active in recruiting to national studies. So you can take part in research without being an academic. You can take part in research and get involved in research in the clinical areas that you're interested in, and you can actually draw national studies to Cornwall and take part and become part of that community. We're very fortunate in that we have developed an academic department with Plymouth University in learning disability psychiatry, which is probably the most active learning disability psychiatry academic department in Europe, certainly in the country. We focus on research in epilepsy and medical conditions in people with intellectual disability. That's been extremely successful under the leadership of Professor Rohit Shankar and has grown considerably. We're now just appointed a professor of maths into the CIDA department who is developing new ways of using EEG to diagnose and manage epilepsy. And we've also recruiting a psychiatrist who has an academic expertise in genetics. So we'll be expanding into not only clinical care of people with intellectual disability, but also the use of EEGs and genetics in that area. So it feels like a very vibrant, exciting time. I like to think there's a culture here that will support you if you've got an academic interest in an area. And we're not a backwater. We're leading the way in intellectual disabilities for the country and internationally as well. And we've got ambitions to become a WHO Centre of Excellence in that area. There's so many opportunities, and the other thing we're trying to develop is more commercial research. There's a strong push nationally through the O'Shaughnessy report for the NHS to support commercial research with pharmaceutical companies. And we are one of the most active sites in the Southwest recruiting to commercial research. I think that's really important because we won't develop new drugs unless we support the pharmaceutical industry in their research. It's also generates income and it creates jobs. And our research team has gone from 2 members of staff to 30 members of staff in the last 15, 20 years. And it means it gives us a vibrancy to take part in research, to deliver research, as well as to create our own research. And now we're starting to work in AI and digital and robotics as well, which I think is a massive development in the future. How do we do research in the areas of AI and robotics and digital health? We're already doing that. We've had some real success in that area. It's a challenge because it's very different to other forms of research, and we've had a few sort of hiccups along the way. But I think that is an area where we have developed in, and we're going to further develop in. I think people are scared almost to get involved in that. I like to think that we're bold enough to just go for it and try things out and try and get involved with AI and digital. And I think there's massive opportunities in the future for that area.